Hey everyone, so today we're going to trace the real world journey of a technical project. We're going to follow its evolution, step by step, to see that messy but honestly brilliant process of how great technology actually gets built. Let's dive in.
So, this is really the core question, right? How do you get from A to B? Well, the answer is never some single giant leap. It's always a series of deliberate problem solving steps. We're going to unpack that process and see how a simple idea really matures into something powerful.
So, here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with the initial proof of concept, follow its big move to the cloud, see how a clever trick sped up development, and then we'll wrap it all up with a review of the entire evolution.
Every big project starts small, and this one was no exception. Version 0.1 was exactly that, a foundational proof of concept. Its goal wasn't to be perfect or pretty, it was simply to prove that the core idea, this decentralized energy trading platform, could actually work. At the start, the data flow was, beautifully simple and straightforward. Data came from a physical sensor, it got processed by a back-end API, then sent over to the Hedera blockchain for verification, and finally it popped up on a web interface. It worked, but there was a hidden weakness in the architecture.
And here was the Achilles heel: storage. Before getting sent off to the blockchain, all that incoming sensor data was just piling up in simple JSON files on a local machine. You can probably see where this is going. This created a major bottleneck just waiting to happen. So let's be real about the limitations of V0.1. It could only handle one sensor at a time. It would completely fail if the hardware had an issue, and that local file storage system just could not scale. But you know what? These weren't failures. They were the exact problems that the next version needed to solve.
All right, enter V0.2. This is where the project really started to grow up. It transformed from a fragile little concept into a full-stack platform, and it did that by tackling that data bottleneck head-on. The single most critical upgrade was swapping out those local JSON files for a real cloud-native database, in this case, Supabase. This one change was huge. It moved the project from a fragile, single point of failure system to a scalable and robust cloud architecture. Choosing something like Supabase also shows a focus on getting things done fast. It lets you spin up a powerful database without a ton of hassle.
So, with this new database in place, the whole data flow got a major upgrade. Now, data streamed right into Supabase, which could easily power a sophisticated real-time dashboard. The blockchain part could then happen in clean batches, pulling from this reliable cloud source instead of those clunky local files. Much cleaner, right? Okay, so problem solved, right? Well, not quite. They fixed the scalability problem, but in doing so, they uncovered a totally new bottleneck: the development process itself. Every single time they wanted to test the back end, they were completely dependent on a physical sensor being online and working perfectly. It was slowing everything down. And the solution they came up with? Honestly, it was pretty brilliant. Sensor data simulation. Instead of waiting around for real hardware, they just wrote a script on the server that generated fake, but totally realistic data streams. This completely decoupled the software from the hardware, and it meant the team could build and test anytime, anywhere. Game changer. And we're not talking about just generating random junk data here. This simulation was sophisticated. It was spitting out data that looked just like real industrial readings, like 400 volts, at a steady rate of once per second. This meant they could test the system under very realistic conditions without ever plugging anything in. So by this point, in V0.3, you can see this really mature, multi-layered storage strategy emerge. Supabase was handling all the live dashboard queries. Those old JSON files, they actually found a new life as a tool for long-term data archiving. And Hedera was there to provide its core strength: rock-solid, immutable verification. Okay, let's take a step back and connect the dots here. We've seen 3 distinct versions of this project, and each one built directly on the lessons learned from the one before it. When you lay it out like this, the pattern becomes crystal clear. V0.1 answered the basic question: can this even be done with a simple data flow? V0.2 took on the scalability problem that created using a cloud database. And then V0.3 solved the new bottleneck, the slow development, with server-side simulation. It's that classic cycle: problem, solution, next problem, next solution. And this really gets to the heart of the matter.
Building amazing technology isn't about having some perfect master plan from day one. It's an iterative journey. It's about building something, finding its biggest weakness, and then focusing all your energy on solving that one problem, which, of course, just reveals the next one to tackle.
Which, of course, leaves us with one final thought. This journey is never really over. Now that the system is scalable and easy to develop for, what do you think the next bottleneck is? What's the next problem just waiting to be discovered? Because that is the constant, exciting cycle of innovation.